Good morning, everybody. Hey, are we all done?
It was the announcement that we're recording.
Oh, I hate that. Gets me out every time. And then it tells me on my other computer. It's just like, you didn't used to do this, and we all got on very well. Morning, everybody, or afternoon, evening, if you're watching this at a later time in the day. So it's our last class. We're there 8 weeks of change, and we've got probably 8 years of change. So yeah, I hope it's been a useful series for you. And we started off our series with looking at working with something that's very known to you, very stable, a practice that you know and love and have done many times, non-challenging. It doesn't challenge you physically or mentally, and it's just a sort of like the warm embrace of practice to make you feel secure and stable. So we started off with that, and then we went into a little bit more like free flow to just seeing what is going to naturally arise in practice in order to really allow the body and your psyche to just guide you into practice, so you can get maybe some unexpected moves or unexpected insights as you move through your practice in a really spontaneous and natural, organic way. And then we worked into a longer series of working with strengthening, and we began to really work on the subtle strength of our deep center, our core. And we then touched on the hara I think it was last week, which is the spiritual center, shall we say, of our core. That's how I see it anyway. And a very powerful and potent place to live your life from and live your movements from, actually. I know the heart is a very popular place in spiritual realms and ways, and of course we want to live from the heart, and we have been subtly working with heart openers throughout our series here. But that core center in deep moments of change for me has been my personal lifesaver. I'm a more practical woman. I'm very heart-based, but very practical and earthy as well. And so going a little deeper down into the body in the place of the hara has been life-changing for me, actually. So I hope that you connected to some of that and that it made some sense. So this week I thought we'd just finish off with something a little lighter, a little slower, working a little bit more, perhaps with some long holds and some basic stuff, because actually with change, it's enough. It's usually enough to do basics and to do some non-taxing things, but also I want to do some longer holds that really help us open up various parts of our body that tend to hold the tension and, crunch down in those areas. So let's get started. We're going to just start lying on our back. Hopefully that's going to be good enough. I don't think we're going to do any standing postures today. So stay low to the ground, connected to the earth. We're going to, do it on have our knees bent, feet to the earth, just at that nice distance between the feet and the buttocks. Hands can just drop down on either side, and we just want to ground down, allowing our body to begin to relax back into the floor. You might like to take a couple of deepened breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Really allow the body to rest back into the body of the earth. And just give yourself a little bit of time for everything to settle. First thing in the morning, that's usually a little easier than perhaps if you're doing this in the afternoon. So you might need a bit more time if you are following this later in the day. You can pause the video if that's the case. Otherwise, for those of us here and now, we are going to start jigging. One of my favorite autumn winter practices, and also practice for when we are depleted or, being challenged, particularly physically if there's depletion in the energetic body. So here we press the feet into the floor and release the feet, just as this little subtle press, as if you want to push yourself along the floor, slide your body along the floor. But obviously you don't press that hard. Plus, we're on a sticky note. So you press and release, and that allows the whole body to begin to jig back and forth. And we're just going to practice this for some minutes. I love this practice, and try and relax all the muscles around this. There's not a lot of muscular effort. We're trying to track the movement through the bones. So the skeletal system is moving back and forth. And the soft body is just sort of going along for the ride. There's never a way to sink the breath in with this movement. So just be aware of your natural breath moving in and out of the body. And as we've been really diligently checking in, particularly the last few classes, I believe, is the features of the face. We can hold so much subtle tension here. But the thing about the features of the face is that they really do reflect in the rest of the body. So tension that you're finding in the face will have corresponding tension in different areas of the body. So it's a good place to really start with making sure that you're relaxed here. So that will just naturally allow other areas of the body to let go as well. Keep the jigging up for just a little longer. This is really working with the pranic body, the energetic body. Trying to notice it if the tracking of this jig gets a little stuck somewhere or it doesn't work so well. It can often just get a little stuck in the hips. So maybe if that's the case, you really try and soften around the hips, or you could even try changing the position of your feet slightly. And it really is about relaxing, particularly in that midpoint of the body around the pelvis and hips. You may also notice one side of the body tracking better than the other. So we usually have a strong dominant side. My experience is that often the strong dominant side is the more injured side. And then just slowly allow the jigging to come to a halt. And just take in a couple of deepened breaths as the body drinks in the effervescence of the energy. Nice full deep inhalations down into the belly. You can exhale through the mouth or just slowly through the nose. And just really allow the body just to drink it in, just soak it in. If your hands are a little closer into the body, please just take them a little further away as we take an inhale. We're going to exhale and drop both knees down to the left-hand side. You can allow the head to remain exactly where it is, or it might like to dip off to the right. Let the shoulder blades sink into the floor, particularly that right shoulder blade. And let the left buttock muscles let go, relax, release. And let the right thigh muscle and knee come heavy and relax. Breathe a deepened breath into the right hips, side waist and rib. Maybe even you can sense that in the thigh. And then inhale to the center. And exhale over to the right hand side, knees. And if you like, you could gently dip the head to the left, or it can just remain where it is. So feel that, particularly the left shoulder blade snuggle it into the floor, the shoulder relax. And then pay some attention to the right buttock muscle and hip and see if you can let go of any gripping or holding there. And once you've attended to that, relax through the left thigh, that left knee be heavy. Any adjustments you need to make, please take them. And then take a deepened breath into the left hip, waist and ribs, and perhaps even thigh, shoulder. You might even be able to expand the breath all the way from the knee to the shoulder. And then on an inhale, you bring the feet back up to the center again. You might like to hug the knees in, squeezing the thighs into the body. You might like another little rock there, either just jigging up and down as we were doing, or maybe a side to side rock. Whenever you're ready, just allow the knees to fall open nice and wide. And a little squeeze back into the thigh bones, into the hip sockets. So we're not, for me, I've got some injuries here, so I'm really aware of, not letting it over open. And then a little rock from side to side, particularly if you have any injuries. You want to do that hugging back into the joints. As you rock from side to side, you can squeeze the thighs, the knees towards the torso a little bit more, towards knees, towards underarms. And then you might like to release them a little bit away, pulling them just gently away as you rock from side to side. And just begin to explore what's going on in the hips for you. Perhaps what's going on in the sacrum, the lower back. And then just find your way into the comfortable center, and with stillness as we begin to rotate the ankles from side to side. Rotate the ankles from side to side. Just rotate the ankles. We don't need to do any side to side. They'll just go in their directions. Change the direction as you're ready. And then we draw the knees, thighs back in together in the center. Drop the left foot down to the floor, extend the right leg up. So we're going to inhale and extend it up, try and open up the back of the leg, and then exhale, drop it back down. And then repeat it, inhale, lift and extend into the heel. Exhale, release the leg, and continue a couple more rounds. Just to open up the back of the leg. It's stiff in these cooler mornings, though it's not so cold this morning, so that's nice. Inhale and extend the leg up, really reach into the heels and draw the toes back towards your shin. Take an inhale as you reach up the back line of the leg, and then exhale as you slowly extend it down towards the floor with straight leg. And before the heel hits the floor, bend the knee and draw the foot, the thigh back in, and then inhale, you're extending the whole leg up straight, and then exhale, releasing it straight down to the floor, and then drawing it back in with the bent knee before you reach the floor. So a few more rounds of a half cycle action. Use the inhale, lift the leg into the air, and the exhale, draw it down. And you can have a pause in between as you bring the leg back in place for lifting, or you can begin the inhale halfway through. And then extend that leg up and begin to turn your toes and knees out to the right, and then back to the center, then out to the right, back to the center, and just repeat that several times. Leave it turned out to the right, and then just bend the knee and place the ankle onto the left thigh. And once you've done that, you can just rock that knee back and forth, back and forth. Open up the hip nice and gently. Hands can just pull away from the body a little bit more as you begin to push the knee, that right knee, away from you. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, you might like to drop the left thigh and right foot down to the left-hand side. I'm actually not going to do that because that's not going to be good for my hip, but it is an offering for you. That is something I would often do if I'm not nursing discomfort or injury. So take a few nice deep breaths there as you do that. Breathing into hips, thighs, keeping the shoulders grounded to the earth. And then when you're ready, use the inhalation to rise back up to the center. And the exhale to draw the left thigh in, taking the right foot and thigh with you. And you can just little squeeze in, push away, squeeze in, push away, squeeze in, push away. A little rock up and down. And then if you like, you can hug that left thigh in. So taking the right arm through the center, hugging in the left thigh, which brings in the right thigh as well. Just to the depth that feels right for you. I'm not going in very deep today. So you take what you need. One more deep inhale there. And as we exhale, you can release that left foot back to the floor. Extend the right leg back up. And just take a moment as you really open up the back of the leg, which should be feeling a little more comfortable now. And then place that right foot back on the floor. And then we inhale and extend the left leg up, and exhale to release it down. And inhale, extend it up, and exhale, bend the knee. Inhale, extend it up. So we just repeat this a number of times, our own breath and rhythm. And then we're going to inhale and extend that leg up, kick into the heel, begin to draw the toes back towards the shin. Ground down through your shoulders, your hips, and your right foot now, and even your arms, your hands. And as you exhale, begin to lower that left leg down. Just before it gets to the floor, you bend the knee, draw it back in, and extend it up. That's the inhale. And the exhale as we drop it down. Inhale as we extend it up. Let the rest of the body support you here. You might want to bring the arms, hands in a little closer to the body for this. And that right foot can also be in support. Extend the leg up and then turn the toes and knees out to the left and then back to the center and then turn them out to the left and back to the center. It's just a little movement and you can do it as fast or as slowly as you like. I like to do this movement fairly fast, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we turn it out and then just bend the knee and drop the ankle to the right thigh and just sway that left knee up and down. Just begin to loosen through the left hip joint. And then push that left thigh away and lift. Oh no, you're going to drop it down to the right hand side. So take the arms out a little wider of the side of the body. And you can use an exhale to guide the right thigh, left foot down towards the right side of the body or right side of the floor. Take a few breaths there. Again, it's not something I'm going to do this morning. Pin yourself down in the shoulders, particularly that left shoulder. And as you pin yourself down, you try and just allow the weight of the bones to keep that sense of, balance through there, rather than the muscular effort. Relaxing the muscles, it's letting the stretch develop and the release come. Take an inhale to move back to the center. And we then lift that right foot off the floor. Drawing the right thigh, left ankle in towards the torso and rock it back and forth. Just push it in, release it out. Push it towards the torso, release it away. And just rock a few times that way. We're using the core muscles here to activate that movement, initiate that movement. And then as you're ready, you can hug that right leg in. You might like to grab under the thigh or over the shin. I'm taking it super easy today. I'm going to do it under, but take what you need. Drawing your ankle and thigh towards your heart. Letting that left knee just push away a little bit and a little tiny tone through the lower leg into the heel. So the ankle isn't being strained and stretched in any way. Deep breath into the left buttock muscles, the hip. Relax through the shoulders and neck. One more deep breath there. Use the exhalation to release the right foot back to the floor and extend the left leg up to the ceiling. Like a little play through the ankle. Took a while, we didn't do that on the other side. Left foot's reaching to the sky, right foot pressing into the earth. The hands reach down on either side. Take more breath in, up the back of the leg. And as we exhale, you can just bend the knees there. Placing the foot back on the floor. And once again, just hugging in. Maybe one hand on each knee as we just do tiny little circles. About 3 times in each direction. Lift the head towards the knees, hugging them both towards each other. And then if you can, just rolling up to come to sit. And you can roll all the way over your knees to come on to hands and feet. And we'll have some blocks ready. And also you might need a folded blanket at some point as well, a little later in class, depending on my timing, which has already got carried away, right, from pre-class chat. Feeds into a little bit of asana time. That's okay. We are a class, a live class, so that's nice. Right? So as you're ready, we'll just come onto all four paws. In actual fact, let's widen the knees and bring the big toes together. Super lazy, right? Can't even be bothered doing cat-cow. Drop the buttocks down towards the heels. Rock from side to side if you find any discomfort in the hips, so you can really just work that out. Hands are shoulder distance away from each other, pressing into the floor, and then we can just allow the forehead perhaps to drop to the earth, or you might like to just have the ears in line with the arms. Begin to stretch those hands away from your knees, away from your hips, but not overstretching, just finding that nice balance, lengthening. Press then the palms of the hands into the floor and reach back into the hips. Again, if you need a little wriggle, please take it. You can drop the elbows to the floor once you've got the length and just take 3 deep breaths. 3 deep breaths. Through the body, through the sides of the body, through the spine. I like to do the inhale from hand to hip and the exhale from tail to crown. If you're feeling the pull somewhere else this morning, go with what you're feeling. Any little rocking or movement is also, welcome. Listen to your body and its needs. And as you're ready, I'd like you to walk your hands into prayer over your head on the floor. And use an inhalation to bring those hands over your head so the back of the thumbs touch the back of the neck. And then exhale back down. We repeat it several times, inhaling, hands overhead. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Just 2 or 3 more times in your own timing, your own breath. And then hands come over the head. Press the elbows just perhaps a little bit more towards the top of your mat. And as you do, begin to press it into the floor so the heart drops a little closer to the earth. And then release the hands back down to the floor at shoulder distance. Take an inhale to round up. And as you round up, just allow the hands to draw back a little closer into the knees, so they're at the right distance for cat-cow. Taking the knees in and the feet out so they all align with your hips. Take an inhale as you're ready and drop the head and tail as you exhale. Round through the spine and begin to push the hands and knees away from each other as you completely release the head and tail. And then inhale, draw the knees and hands towards each other as you roll the sit bones up and lift the chest and chin. And so I like to do this in slow motion. Draw the navel in towards the spine, release the head and tail down, round through the spine, press hands and knees away from each other and into the floor and away. And then the opposite, hands and knees towards each other, rolling the sit bones up, lifting chest, chin. And really active in the foundation of the pose to help open the front body, the back body as you move through
the cat's breath, the cat-cow. Begin to tune into your own experience of this rather than my languaging. So you can tweak it for yourself. Is there anything that you need to add to it to just help open or release different areas of your torso, your hips, your shoulders, neck? Take what you need. Remembering this is literally your practice. And then next time you come to an up cat, so that's the cow, many of you, bend the elbows and just dip the heart a little lower. We're not going all the way down. And then just pull back into your cat pose as you press the hips back towards the heels a little. And then inhale, lifting sit bones, heart, chin, and bending the elbows and dipping your heart down. Sit bones roll a little higher, and then just pull out of there and round back. And then last one, inhale, lifting and dipping. And then exhale, coiling in. And as you coil in, we're going to let the hands draw back towards the knees and use an inhale to rise all the way up into full kneeling pose, with the arms coming over your head. And just as you reach the peak, release the wrists by rolling them out, rotating them around each other in a playful, fun way, and then change the direction of that rotation. And then again, reach the hands up, the fingertips towards the sky, and begin to press your knees deeply into the earth and the inner thighs towards each other without really moving the bones. And then exhale, wide, coming down to sit back down on your heels. Hands can meet at the heart. And just use an inhale to lift your right knee, and then the exhale to release it down. And then the inhale to lift your left knee, and the exhale to release it. And just walking, it's like a little walk. Walking a couple of times, like a little penguin. Opening up the front of the ankles. Not always that pleasant, right? You might notice one side is stickier than the other. For me, it's always my right. Oh my God. Okay, release the hands down as we come back to the center. And inhale, rise again. Press the feet and shins into the floor. Lengthen your tail and open your heart. And as you exhale, keep that lift in the heart and the length in the tail as you drop your hands in prayer back behind your head. And inhale, reach up again, keep the tail long and that lower belly lifting in and up, and exhale, hands back down behind you. And inhale again, reaching in and up, and this time as we exhale, we're going to step that left foot forward. Hands can come onto the hips. And as we come into like this gentle lunge, we're going to just squeeze the feet, this back foot, knee and foot, right? Feet into the floor, and then begin to squeeze them towards each other. Take an inhale as you reach the arms up. And as you exhale, just come out of the lunge a little bit and drop the hands back behind you. And then inhale, squeeze the feet into the floor, draw them towards each other as you lower the hips down and lift the arms up. And exhale as you release out of there for a moment, dropping the hands back behind you. And then squeeze the feet in towards each other, into the floor, towards each other, and begin to guide the hips down, forward and down. As the arms reach up, and you can just hold there for a moment, see what the body wants to do in terms of opening up. Take one more breath. You might even like to look up at the sky, which, just change things a little. And then exhale, release slowly down, bringing your hands. I'm going to use blocks this morning. And actually, we're going to use the blocks. So if you do have them, just bring them right under your hands. And we take an inhale, as we often do here with me, and pull back. And you can just begin to pull that left hip back, straightening that front leg and bowing over it, dipping the nose to the knee or the shin, and then coming forward again. Press that back foot and leg into the floor and help lift the hip. Help lift the heart. And then inhale, pull back and squeeze those feet into the floor and towards each other as you pull that hip back. It's going to help you, I think, stay nice and steady. And then exhale. You can push the feet a little bit away from each other as you bring into the lunge. And then we squeeze back into the center. And then keep that squeezing into the center as you pull back. Let's hold here. So the front leg is straight. We're pulling back into that left hip. I've got my foot just flat on the floor today with the toes pointing. If you prefer to have your foot lifted up, you can most definitely do that. Try and keep a little even in the hips. Take one more breath there, opening up the back of that left leg. And we're going to slide that left block beside the right foot or somewhere like that as we lower our buttocks towards the block so it can come and sit on it. So our right cheek is sitting on our right foot and our left cheek is sitting on the block. Inhale and let the arms rise up overhead. Activate your legs here, squeeze them into the midline and have your left foot as if it's pressing up against imaginary wall. And then as you exhale, you can just begin to slowly fold forward. Keep pressing the feet into the floor, making any adjustments you need to with the block or your body. Hands can come on either side of the foot, the leg, wherever it arrives, wherever they arrive. Keep a sense of length through the spine. So we don't want to round too much here, though there may be some natural rounding, and that's okay. Looking down towards that left leg. Take one more breath there, and as we exhale, we're going to take the left hand to the left hip, and the right hand on the outer side of the left ankle. And you can turn to look over that left shoulder. Have some activity in that left leg and a little twinkle in the toes. And also a little squeezing of the right lower leg foot into the floor. As you're ready, you use an inhalation to rise back up slowly. And you can just remove the block and come forward back into our lunge. Get the blocks out of the way so we can place the hands directly under the shoulders. All four corners pressing down nicely. You might like to lift that back foot off the floor and rotate it a couple of times in two directions. Tuck the toe under once you've done it, lift the knee, and then round through the spine, press the hands into the floor and lift up so you can take that left leg out. And we're going to walk our feet together so the ball of the big toes and big toes are touching in our downward facing dog. If you need to have your knees slightly bent, it is the first dog of the day.
you can have that. So take what you need. Remember that we want this pose to be more about the spine than to be about the hamstrings. So get the spine nicely aligned with the knees bent before perhaps efforting to open up the back of the legs. We've done a little bit of opening of the back of the legs, so it may come to you if you have open hamstrings, or it may not, and that's also super okay. I'd like you just to hang out here for a moment. You might like to wag your tail slowly from side to side. Just liking this rather closed-in aspect of dog with the feet zipped up together, the legs zipped up together, giving us, I don't know, a sense of compactness. Sometimes when there's a lot of change, it makes everything seem like, you know, it's just whizzing all around the body rather than being really in the body. So we're compacting back into the center this morning through our practice. Take one more breath there, and as you're ready, you can exhale and open the knees wide as you allow them to drop down to the floor. Toes continue to touch as you drop the buttocks back down to the heels. Stretch the arms out in front of you. Once again, you can just lower the elbows to the floor. If you really do want to work a little stronger, you can, of course, keep the hands active and those elbows lengthened off the floor. 3 deep breaths here in any which way you like. You might like to do a little bit of rocking or rolling from side to side. And once again, just lifting those hands in prayer overhead and rotating now out through the wrists. As the hands are just over the head, bring the back of the thumbs and then fingers together, then the heel of the hands, and then back of thumbs, fingers, heel of hands, and just keep this little movement going for a few rounds before you change it out. Hands can be placed back onto the floor at the height of your shoulder, or at the distance of your shoulder. And then inhale to slide your hands towards your knees as once again you roll up all the way into a standing kneeling posture. Tucking the knees in as you need to, so they come in under your hips as you come into the full stand, and feet will be in line with the knees. And then this time we're going to exhale, press the knees into the floor and pull them now away from each other as you widen the arms out to the sides, and then bring them back to each other behind you into interlace. Now we stop that pulling away with the knees, right? Just directly into the earth. You might even like to squeeze them into the midline, see how that feels. And then lift from the belly into the heart. Lift the arms away from, or hands away from your buttocks. And if that's too much, of course, you can have the hands resting on the sacrum with the elbows coming in. And if you like, you can join me in inhaling, deeply lifting up, and then exhale, drawing the navel in towards the spine as you fold over and bring the forehead and then the crown to the floor, reaching the arms, the hands up and over the head. Taking a few breaths here. You might be this is just enough for you. But if you like a little bit more movement, you can pull your hips over to the right as you drop your shoulders, hands towards the left a little. Please be careful if you're doing this. And then you might swap sides. Then you come back to the center, just peek into the pose. And then as you exhale, release the hands towards the hips and the hips towards the heels, but don't quite get there. Reach the hands out in front of you now, so we're in like a puppy pose. Then a half lift on the inhalation And then thread the right hand in under the left and lay down on the right arm. So the shoulder and head come down to the floor. That left hand is reaching out in front of you in line with your shoulder. Yeah. And then we just begin to press that right arm and shoulder into the floor to help rotate the spine up towards, the chest up towards the ceiling. And if you feel super comfortable and confident there, you can lean a little bit more into the right shoulder, tuck the left toe, and then begin to straighten the left leg out. So the toe is still tucked, it's still on the ground. Of course, you could have lift off if that felt really playful and fun, but I wasn't actually aiming for that today, but it is, of course, a possibility. Otherwise, just stability is good, and it's a little bit what we're working on, this midline, stable inner place. Take one more breath there. And then as you exhale, bend the knee back down to the floor, press that left hand into the floor so you can lift out of there, and exhale. Heart to chest as we roll the sit bones high. So the hands might slip a little further away as we drop the heart to the earth, and the rolling the sit bones high so they're just in line with the knees. And then again, we inhale and we pull the hands towards the knees as we coil all the way up. Our hands up and over again. And as we exhale, we now bring the hands to the hips and lift that right foot into lunge. Yeah, we're probably not going to get to that blanket thing. Just like time, yoga zone. Okay, so we're going to begin to press the feet into the floor and squeeze them towards each other as we guide the hips down, forward and down, and the arms up. Take an inhale as you do that and really squeeze the knee and foot towards each other. And then as you exhale, just drop the hands back behind you and pull out a little bit. Maybe press the feet and the foot and knee away from each other now. And then begin to squeeze them back towards each other as you guide the hip down and lift the arm up. Lift the heart and keep that nice bowing through the spine. Nice even arch. And then exhale, pull out as you release the hands down. And then last one. Press the feet into the floor, draw them towards each other as you guide the hips forward and down. Reach the arms up, keep the tail nice and long, but lift the heart, lift the heart, lift the heart, and maybe even lift the chin. A beautiful bowing, a beautiful arcing of the spine. Feet in support, and then exhale, arms wide and down towards your blocks on either side. Might be a little further away this time. And then inhale. We begin to pull that right hip back and bow over the leg, drawing the nose towards the knee as you do to get to the fullness of the fold. And then inhale, back up, guiding your hips forward. And exhale, pulling back, or whichever way it is with the breath. Another round, inhale, lifting. You might like to pull the feet, the foot and knee towards each other as you rise. And then exhale, draw that right hip back. Just press the front foot directly into the floor and fold over the hip, the thigh, sorry. And just take a moment here as you continue to pull that right hip back behind you. Toes are pointed here. If you really want to lift, so that's also okay. Keep the hips as even as you can. Breath nice and steady. One more inhale. And as you exhale, we're just going to lift up enough that we can guide that right block back beside your left foot and guide yourself back to sit on the block.
So right buttock onto the block, left buttock onto the foot. This right foot in action, in activity. We use the inhalation to guide the arms up and just have this nice even effort throughout the body as you arrive in the pointy peak of your pose, and then use the exhalation to guide yourself forward. And you need to really kick into the foot to support yourself through that. And then the hands come on either side of the leg. And you can just work wherever you're at there, just taking a few breaths, trying to create some space, perhaps in the lower back or hips. Nice full breaths in, nice complete breaths out. And then we're going to take that right hand so it sits beside the right hip and take the left hand on the outer edge of the right ankle. Take an inhale perhaps to just lift and lengthen a little bit. As you exhale, you can fold a little more deeply and turn to look over that back right shoulder. Keep pulling back into the right hip and kicking into the heel, a little twinkle in the toes. Perhaps a little bit of pressure and support in the left foot pressing into the floor. And then use an inhalation to begin to come out. And the exhale, perhaps to bring yourself forward. So we can just place the blocks a little bit out of the way as we bring the hands completely down to the earth. They're directly under the shoulders, and we find the four corners of the hands nicely tucked in. We tuck the back toes, we lift the back knee. We begin to coil up into our center, press the hands into the floor really firmly, and release that right foot to step into dog. Bringing the balls of the big toes and big toes together and zipping yourself up from feet to all the way up the legs. And of course, knees can be as bent as they need to ensure that your downward facing dog is more about the spine and lengthening and releasing through the spine. Keep pressing into the index finger of your hand of the palm. That way it will help the shoulders remain nice and integral. You can begin to pull the inner shoulder blades towards your, up the spine, and the outer shoulder blades down the arms. Lengthen tail up and on that angle up in towards, the sky or the space above you, and the crown towards the space between the hands. Take one more breath as you really just open up into all of that. You might like a little wag of the tail or a little side to side. I was going to do a lot more of that, but we're not going to go there. And then we can inhale, lift the heels high, and as you do, it rounds through the back, bringing you a little more forward and just bending the knees and slowly, slowly dropping the knees down to the floor. So they land together silently. And then inhale, untuck the toes and drag the hands towards the knees as we rise all the way up again. And then just open the knees up so they're hip distance now. And the hands reach up overhead. And as we exhale, our arms come out wide and we come into opposite interlace behind our back. And of course, if you need to, elbows can remain bent and hands on the sacrum, drawing the elbows in. Otherwise, press the knees into the floor. Begin to pull them apart as you lift up from the belly into the heart and draw the hands, arms away from the body if you're coming all the way with me. Otherwise, those bent elbows drawing in towards each other. lifting from the belly into the heart, maybe lifting your gaze. And then on an exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, bringing the heart forward, tucking the belly up and into itself or into the body, and taking the forehead and then the crown onto the floor as you then roll the arms up and over. Making any little adjustments you need to here. Trying to lift up through those shoulders and reaching up into the hands so they can come up and over. Maybe an exhale as you drop the hips to the right and the arms over to the left. And then the inhale as we come back to the center, and the exhale as we dip the hips to the left and the shoulders to the right. And then inhale back to the center. Take one last inhale. Use the exhalation to drop the hands to the hips halfway to the heels, and then just release the arms out in front of you. And then lift the head, so we're in this like dipping anahata, dipping the heart down, hands up at shoulder distance, rolling the sit bones up, lifting or dropping the heart down. And then a half lift as we round through the spine to lift our way out of there, and then to thread that left arm in under the right, lay down onto the right arm, shoulder, and place the head down. That right hand can just still be reaching out in line with the shoulder. And we just begin to press the back of the arm into the floor, press into that right hand to support that. And you'll find the rotation of the torso happening. And if it makes you feel a little light in the right knee, right leg, you can lift that leg, or the knee, sorry, and reach into the heel. And of course, there was that option of being a little bit more playful and lifting the leg into the sky, but it's absolutely takes a lot more balance and things like that. So it's just an option for you at home. Take one more breath in, and then as we exhale, we're going to bend that right knee if it's up, and then push into the right hand so we can release through that left arm. And then just widen the knees again, bringing your big toes together as you drop the buttocks down to the heels. And allow yourself to drop into a relaxed, extended child's pose. 3 deep breaths as you arrive, breathing into the ribs, into perhaps the lower back or shoulders. Breathe life into any area, particularly of the back body, that you feel is needing. And as you're ready, you can just gently roll up, coming to kneel. And just from there, allowing the head to just begin a natural process of releasing, dropping and releasing the neck. So you can do anything that you like. I'm just dropping mine from one side to the other. But we all know how to look after our own necks. So just take a moment to release in any way that feels nice for you. Yes, it's a great time to start putting on anything warmer that you might need. before we come back down to the ground. So as you're ready, we're going to lie back down on our back. And this time, if you have those, you know, a couple of those blocks, we didn't get to use the blanket. I missed out on so many things, ideas that I had. We did what we did. And bring the soles of the feet together, lay back down on your back and just have some support for underneath the thighs. You could use that blanket over your body or under your head if it's not too high or too thick. Have the arms nicely pulled away from the body with the palms facing up and tuck those shoulder blades in towards each other. So that really allows the heart to begin to spread open. Begin to find your breath. Draw it into the body. The exhalation is just releasing any efforts, any holding, gripping, contraction. You can guide the breath down into the belly, into the pelvis. Filling the whole pelvic bowl up with the inhale. And the exhalation is a sweeping away of any of the deeply held tension that we have in the hips. Continue to work with the breath and allow everything to settle through its dynamic and frame rhythm. As you're ready, you might like to squeeze the feet into each other and draw the knees together and just straighten those legs out, nice and wide. Take a nice sweeping breath into and throughout the body. Let the exhalation, let the feet fall out. The belly and hips completely release and rest. And just let go of any effort, of any control of the breath or any other part of the body. Let the eyes sink back into the sockets and the gaze be softened down. As if you can actually look down the inner body.
You can just begin to allow your attention to rest on the rhythm of your breath, focusing a little bit more on the exhalation and how each exhalation can allow your body to relax more deeply, connect more fully, and open more widely. So before we come out, just checking the features of your face once again. Let everything be soft and smooth. And then we begin to deepen the inhalations again, trying to allow that to be soft and smooth as well as it enters into and throughout the body. And then as you're ready, you can begin to awaken parts of the body, or perhaps just simply roll onto a side. Taking a couple of breaths as you begin to bring life back in. However you're reawakening. And then eventually, of course, pressing out with the opposite hand. And we come. Bringing our hands mindfully together at the heart center. Letting the thumbs gently touch the sternum and the chin gently bend. Drop down towards the hands, towards the heart. Just begin to take a deepened breath in once again and really feel the fullness of the breath and the fullness of the life force that it offers you. Feeling the exhalation giving you that stability, that grounding. and the inhalation, the energy and inspiration to carry on. Life is a balance, and there will always be change. And so it really is a matter of learning to find the peaceful, stable space within, throughout all change. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me on this journey. This is the last of our series. So, take some time over the coming weeks to catch up on anything that you missed out on, or to go over anything that you want to, experience again. Please let me know what you would like to do. We're taking some time off and not really sure how to go forward. So let me know your preferences and we'll see what we can work out. Anyway, my love to you. Have a brilliant day, week, month, life. Bye.